Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. I am Akhilesh Suman and you are watching Indian Standard Time. The guest of honor today is Mr. Young-gil, the chair of India-Korea Parliamentary Group. Mr. Gill, welcome. You met Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he was here. So, what was the special thing that you shared with him and Prime Minister shared with you?
Yeah, last year I had a chance to visit India and New Delhi. At the time I met the Prime Minister Modi. We at the time Korea Chosun News daily papers hosting the India, the Korea Business Forum.
Right.
And so I am very impressed with the very strong leadership of the Modi Prime Minister.
Right.
Under his leadership, the India economy rapidly increasing. The average about 8 or 7% GDP growth is very marvelous. So. Also, we are through India and Korea, the special strategic partnership. We are good sharing the perspective about the cooperation between two countries, especially parliamentary level. Right. As you know, this year, April, the general election in India. After that, the Prime Minister Modi invited me and our members to the India. We are planning to visiting program.
Okay. So, you know that India, Korea are talking for a long time and they are having very good, development in investment sector. So, do you think that India can be a better investment center than China in coming days?
Yes, absolutely. As you know, we are first partner. The trade is to China. China's volume is very big, but our Korea economy we should some portfolio and diversity into market, and so emerging power is the number one is India. So recently the population of the country is very similar, and India and China, but India's more advantages. India is the biggest country in the world. The adapting parliamentary democracy system and the legal system is more the advantage.
How it will help investment and business between India and Korea if India is the democratic country?
It's more transparency and the legal affairs. So we can predict the critical factor is the economy. Uncertainty is very bad, and we can practice. We can the strategy to improving the cooperation between two countries.
So, when we are talking about investment, do you think that Prime Minister Narendra Modi or Government of India should do something more to increase investment in India from Korean side?
So already India to have a good facilities and in infrastructure, especially the IT, the area. But we are now to discuss more improve the SEPA, a Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Yeah. If that we are more through the good environment, through the boosting and the enhancing the startup company, especially AI, robots, IT, the medical area.
So what do you want other than SEPA? It will take some time maybe. What do you want that Government of India, even when you are not going into that agreement, should do for you?
I don't know exactly, but we have had good discussion, especially to when we are startup and so to the defense industry. We wanted to more to cooperate, but India recently adapting the Make in India policy. Right. So when I met the Modi, the Prime Minister, I strongly suggest the defense area the co-production is very good. The project, right. The enhancing and facilitate the two countries the cooperation.
So this co-production, will it also include transfer of technology to India, or it will be co-production?
Yes, transportation is very
transfer of technology.
Transfer technology, yes, yeah. Yes. We inevitably invest the sharing technology, we are co-production, the process, we can improve the technology, we can sharing the improving technology.
So for India, it is not necessary though in private sector that you need to have a local investment partner, is it? Like unlike China. In China, you need to have some local partner, isn't it?
The local government?
In China, you need to have a local partner for opening any business, as I think. Do you think the same is the situation in India, or you can open your shop or open your business without having any local partner?
A local partner is needed, inevitably, I think. If we are not, we have no local partner, it's very hard to calculate the market system and we are prone to the challenge.
Okay, so you want local partner in that way?
Yes. As for example, in Korea, Mahindra Group is to very successfully cooperate with the Ssangyong Motor Car Corporation. It's very good. The example. So, in Korea or India, we are co-production, co-working is very critical to success.
So when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was here, there was a talk of India and Korea can also go into nuclear reactor field. So what is the situation? Because India has a very good cooperation with Russians. India is talking to French also for nuclear reactors. We have agreement with Japanese too. So Korea is the, I think, fourth party to enter into nuclear reactor. So whether any substantial talk with Prime Minister Modi on this issue?
Yes, as you know, the Korea nuclear plant technology is very top in the world, and we are very proud in this area. But recently, we are improving renewable energy system is very controversial issue. Right. But in domestic affairs, beside we can consistently pursue to improving the atomic technology and export, and we are strongly wanted to cooperate with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, or through the British and the Czechoslovakia. Also, we wanted to close collaborate with to this area, to India.
But what I have heard that South Korea itself is trying to, shut down nuclear power plants, phase out nuclear power plants, and go into renewable energy. So, what is the truth?
We are consistently want to export nuclear energy plant into Arab Emirates and also Saudi Arabia. So especially we are developing the smart atomic nuclear reactor the area.
What does it mean? Smart
energy system is the scale of the atomic generator.
Okay.
It's very efficient and convenient. For example, the desert area.
Okay.
Or to Philippines, like the big island, we are concentrate to generate electricity. We are deliver is the facility cost is very high. Yeah. But we can the exclusive area. We can they only to satisfy their needs that the specific area is very small amount. For example, 400 megawatt and 300 megawatt. And the atomic energy system is very developing. We are now closely connected with Saudi Arabia. We want to export to the Philippines, like another area. To India and China with the long ranges to delivering to the electric cable, the cost is very high. Okay. Each province they satisfy their needs is very good.
Okay, so in each province you can set up small nuclear power plant. That is what you are telling, smart power plant. Yes. But tell me one thing, that will this smart power plant project from your side will also include the supply of nuclear fuel, maintenance, and also managing the byproducts like disposing the waste of nuclear fuels?
Yes, smart nuclear power is we are reducing to nuclear to trash. Very efficient way. We are very improving technology. As you know, the Microsoft, Bill Gates wants to very invest in this area. We can move out to sharing technology with India.
So, do you think that really India can play any role in peace in Korean Peninsula?
Yes, I appreciate the India firmly to support Korea the position and President Moon Jae-in's so-called the peace and prosperity policy in Korean Peninsula. As you know, traditionally India is very critical role to the Soviet Union and the United States. The Cold War at that time. And non-alliance to grouping the successfully organized and and check the balancing system and keep the peace in the world. India is very critical role. Also nowadays, although we are collapse of the Cold War system, but in nowadays we are the very increasing military tension, especially in northeast area, in Russia, annexation of the Peninsula, United States and the European Union, the strong economic sanction, and the build up the military expenditure, and the China and the Japan, they are all built up to navy and aircraft carrier, the vessels. Is very concerned. At that time, India is very critical role. The checking and the Japan and the China and the United States and the Russia. So I'm very good sign to the India the participate Shanghai Cooperation Organization, right, and Russia and the United States as the close collaborate, and while also the collaborate with Japan and the United States and the free and the India Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, yeah, free sailing, the policy, a good position, I think. Also, like this too, India is the very good critical role in North Korea and South Korea. The two-sided all diplomatic relationship in India is very good.
So when Prime Minister was here, did you sense that India may do something for this peace process in Korean Peninsula?
Yes. Yesterday, the luncheon time, I participated in Blue House luncheon time with Prime Minister and Moon Jae-in President, where they are very like the brothers. Okay. They feel intimacy, okay, and a very good friendship. It's very good. They good. They exchange their perspective to dealing with the North Korean nuclear issue.
So, do you think that the way India is trying to tackle the issue of terrorism in the whole world, India is pushing forward many issues, how to contain terrorists, how to block their financing, everything. So, are India and Korea on the same page on this issue, or you have any differences on the issue of tackling terrorism?
Yes, I know. India, recently the Kashmir, the borderline of the Pakistan and India, there's some very casualty, right, and tragedy. We are very condolence to the Indian people. Right. And we can overcome this kind of very cowardice attack, the terrorism and the hatred and the prejudice. We should overcome. Korea, the position is firmly stands with India, and we are against any kind of terrorism.
We are reaching towards the end of our conversation. You know, India has made its presence felt in the way of Act East Asia policy. And also, IndoPacific is a term coined by President Donald Trump in the name of India. It was Asia Pacific. So, do you think that India should play any specific role in this Indo-Pacific region, in this whole ASEAN, Korean Peninsula region?
Yes, as you know, Mr. Obama at that time adopted a strong policy, the so-called pivot to Asia, yeah, rebalancing Asia. Yeah. The superficially they said that pivot to Asia not means to contain China, but is substantially they are containing China, is provoking the China. The reason why China to adapt one belt one road system. The superficial the economic policy, but is they want the security of their country. They connect the fossil fuel, the crude oil, directly the connect and the Middle East and the China, Xinjiang, Uyghur, through the Malacca, okay. Singapore is a substantial ally of the United States. If they are blocking the Malacca Strait, it's going to be a big problem. So right. They wanted to directly connect the Middle East and the Xinjiang Uyghur. So it's very increased the military tension, but India is to very neutral position. The checking the power and balancing is very critical role. I anticipate more productive role in India to preserve the peace and prosperity of this area.
So do you think that India should move its navy in this area?
Yes.
And will South Korea also join in the joint exercises with India?
joint society.
Will join the joint exercises with India?
And military exercise. I don't know exactly this year. I'm checking, but we are fundamentally we are collaborating is very critical.
How Korea thinks about reform in UN system, like reform in United Nations Security Council?
The Security Council is to more dominate to United States and Russia and China. Is some kind of the right is already collapsed the Cold War system. We can more improve I don't know the specific direction, but we can more discuss improving the Security Council system.
So that is Mr. Song Young-gil, who is talking about how India-Korea relationship can be developed further, and there are immense possibilities. The story doesn't end here, and we will also get an Indian perspective on this view. Professor Lakhvinder Singh is Professor of International Studies in the Asia Institute, Seoul, and he is considered to be one of the pioneers who had propelled India-South Korea relationship to this height. Professor Singh, welcome to Rajya Sabha Television.
Thanks for having me.
What is the reason that how India-Korea relationship is considered to be one of the models that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also, eulogizing, and he is also rejoicing this relationship?
As you know, Korea used to be very poor country like India. Right. So Korea gave us a role model, example, how to become a rich and prosperous country in short span of time. So that is why Korea has attracted Korean politician, Korean scholar, Indian scholars, Indian politician in long time. So a lot of people come here to learn how can Korea become so rich in such a short span of time. And this is one of the reasons why progressive politicians like our Prime Minister are coming to Korea again and again. Right. So it is giving us a lot of energy, a lot of self-confidence that we can also become rich and prosperous like Korea.
But given the fact that there is a North Korea, there is a South Korea. North Korea could not, get such a height in development field that South Korea has got. So how do you think that how South Korea could attain this type of development?
Yeah, very good question. As you know, North Korea is a communist country. Communist country, all the resources are communized, all the governmentalized. So that kind of governing system do not produce good result. But South Korea developed capitalism, follow the American development model. So naturally, it was given a lot of push by USA. They got a lot of funding from USA, and South Korea was lucky to get very good leaders. And it's a combination of many good factors, which South Korea could enjoy. But North Korea was a very communist state, and in the beginning they was doing very good, but after some time they lost steam and lost the initiative.
South Korea has some of the industries that is famous all over the world. Samsung is one of them. So how do you see the whole growth and development of Samsung in a very nutshell, you can tell?
Yes, today Samsung is the kind of pioneering in the electronic products, and it is the most dominating power, and it has become a role model. The secret of this success is always taking the future steps. So Samsung always go 1-2 steps further. So they have succeeded in bringing talent from all over the world. If you go to Samsung laboratories, you will see thousands of people are working in their labs from all over the world. Samsung is not a Korean company. Samsung is multinational. And if you go there, everybody is there. So Samsung is a unique Korean concept where they try to bring talent from all over the world.
But and again, there is a Hyundai. Hyundai also has generated lots of revenue, also generated lots of admirers all over the world. So how do you see Hyundai's phenomena?
Hyundai phenomena is also a very great success, and it's a kind of role model. And Hyundai cars are very famous. Hyundai has also succeeded in bringing a lot of success, a lot of revenue for South Korea. It is also a very proud company, and yes, as you know, in the beginning it used to be a small company like a workshop. It started from a car workshop, and it succeeded, and they have learned from the experience.
It's a very unique thing that a president of a country goes to another country, and in that country, a company like Samsung is opening a shop or a factory. Yes. So it rarely happens that one president of a country is going to open a factory of a private company in his country. So, Moon Jae-in went to India when Samsung was opening a new factory and it becomes a larger factory in the world. So, do you think this type of relationship between government and the private industry has also worked for the development of South Korean industries?
Very, very good question and pointed question. This is the secret of success of Korea. Because in Korea, private sector and government has worked very together. So close, sometimes it's impossible to make a difference. And this private sector has got a lot of support from the government. During the Park Chung era, private sector and the government was used to work together as one. And India can also follow this example, where private sector has a very good relationship with the government and government leaders understand the role private sector can play. Korea is a role model. What kind of combination, what kind of violence and harmony between the private sector and government can happen.
So don't you think that Korean politicians raises a question on such type of relationship between the government and the private sector? Because in India it happens that if the government tries to show itself close to a particular company, there is a hue and cry, there is a questions raised. So how it happens, how it takes in Korea?
Very good question. This is very natural question. Because after all, by the end of the day, a lot of people become rich. A lot of people feel they are unfair. They are getting unfair support from the government. But we have to have an overall picture in mind. It's about the country. It's about the country. If the government leaders don't support, private sector cannot survive. To some extent, government support is necessary in this kind of competition. Brutal competition in the world. If Korean government do not provide support, Korean companies cannot survive. So you have to understand there is a thin balance and thin line of we have to walk thin line with the government and private sector, but to some extent support to the private sector is very crucial. And Korea shows it works. The case of Korea, the model of Korea shows that if the support is given in limited measure, it produces very positive result.
The people and politicians don't take it badly.
No, some communist, some labor organizations, some people feel bad, but as a whole, Koreans are very proud of the way system has worked. A lot of people have benefited from it, so there is not a major resentment.
Coming back again to India-Korea thing, India-Korea have put a target of $50 billion by the end of 2030. So do you think that it is an achievable target, or do you think that it is impossible, or do you think that it is less than potentialities?
Very good question. Very good question. If we continue with our current approach, I'm afraid it may not be achieved, because the focus is on just trading. But there's a limited potential of trading. You just can't increase the trade by passing new laws, by reducing customs. We have to bring a new paradigm shift. We have to bring a new element into the trade relationship. Only then we can increase the trade. I have done my own studies. I have come to the conclusion that if we do the paradigm shift and we bring the new factor into the play, we can reach the trade up to $100 billion.
So what is the new paradigm?
New paradigm that currently our focus is too narrow. We are just focusing on very few areas. But we have to bring a new paradigm. Paradigm is working in the area of defense, working in the peace, working in the area of culture. We have to bring a new factors.
Yeah, India and Korea have decided to work for fourth industrial revolution. So do you think that it is going to add and fasten the process of achieving this target?
Revolution is one of the elements of my thesis. Right. And fourth industrial revolution can bring our country together like never before. Right. But today, Prime Minister Modi has come. So today is the time when we should see what is the potential of peace, how we can extend the areas of peace, and what kind of economic benefits it can bring area of peace. Peace is not an abstract concept. If we properly define it and properly expand it, it is a limitless concept. Okay. Peace includes everything.
Right. So, the way South Korea and North Korea are talking, how do you see the future of these talks?
Future talks, I strongly believe, until there is a paradigm shift, it's going nowhere. Until North Korea don't give up its own ambitions and South Korea USA don't give up its hard line, it's going nowhere. So Vietnam summit, which is coming in a few days, I don't think it has a future. So at least some countries should understand that we have to bring a new factor. That is why recently in my article I proposed that 6-party talks are not working, North Korea, USA talks are not working. So we should bring new forces and new players into the picture. That is why I proposed that India should play active role. India as a country of peace, as our Prime Minister said yesterday in the morning today, India is a country of peace. We can play a bigger role and in the peacemaking.
So how India can play in that?
Because as you know, we have a good relationship with North Korea, have good relationship with South Korea, and we have no vested interest.
You want that North Korea should be mainstreamed.
Yes.
Mainstreaming of North Korea is much more important than just talking about denuclearization.
Yeah. Mainstream is more important, and India can play a very important role.
Okay.
India can play a very important role in bringing mainstream, North Korea into mainstream, because India is trustworthy. Everybody trusts us, and we are a country of Gandhiji. And if you tell USA, listen, if you really want denuclearization, there's a way to go. Way is that by bringing North Korea into mainstream, they will never feel the need for nuclear weapons. And for that, we have to understand their strategic and security needs. And we should not just force them. We should make them understand the needs. Okay, nuclear weapons are really bad. It can really hurt people. And you simply cannot use it and think that you can survive. If we die, you die. So it is mutual destruction. And India can make them understand North Korea. So it means mutual death. So North Korea will also understand. If we tell them, so now India can really make them understand. Come, listen to what we are trying to tell you. Give up your nuclear, but we guarantee you, we give you.
Guarantee.
Yeah.
Can you think that India can give guarantee to North Korea about?
At least we can be active role. We can play active role. Convincing them. Just say North Korea. We can bring them together. We can provide them platform.
So what is our interest in that? What is India's interest in that?
We have a huge interest. As you know, we have a very good relationship with Korea. Korean economy is playing a big role in India. If South Korea united, Korean economy will become more stronger. And because Korea is a very good relationship, our relationship with Korea, we got a lot of investment, a lot of products, a lot of people will get business. And United Korea very good defense against balance power. Because in that case, USA, United, as you know, balance power is shifting, and Chinese Navy is expanding. But so far, South Korea is not in a position to play any active role. But if Korea is united and become powerful, economically powerful, it can support a very strong military power. Right. And if Korea is aligned with India, then we will be able to maintain balance of power in the Indian Ocean. So United Korea will not only be economically benefit to India, but militarily benefit to India. But because we are a country of peace, both South Korea and India can play a bigger role in peace movement, like in climate change, in green technology, in industrial revolution. So United Korea is huge benefit for us.
So Professor Singh says that peace between North Korea and South Korea is in India's interest, and India should not just stay silent. It should rather play active role for its own benefit. And if South Korea and North Korea attains peace, it will be beneficial for India in a way that investment, trade can also increase between Korea and India.